This one certainly starts off intense with a scene that, well, it makes you wonder and ask questions. Because it sort of starts in the middle of things and you just want to know what's going on. What's the story behind what's going on and how did it get to that point? So it definitely does a good job with pulling you in, and at least I got intrigued. And the rest of the movie basically explores all of that, what's going on and why. But it doesn't just come out and tell you straight up what it's all about. It slowly gives you bits and pieces of information and lets you put together the puzzle yourself. Now, it's not a particularly difficult puzzle to put together, but I still appreciated that the movie trusted the audience to do the work. But what is the story about? Well, without giving too much away, let's just say that we follow this guy in his 30s living in this tiny little town in the middle of nowhere. Somewhere in middle America with some beautiful mountains in the distance. But there really isn't a whole lot going on in the town itself, it seems, and people aren't exactly wealthy either. But they make do and get by, and this guy seems to be getting by as well. However, he does have some internal struggles and some conflicts he has to deal with. And him attempting to navigate his situation and deal with his issues is basically the driving force of the movie. Now, I almost immediately recognized the lead actor here, Clayne Crawford. But for the life of me and for the entire movie, I couldn't figure out what I knew him from. Turns out though he played Ted, the stepbrother in the phenomenal TV show Rectify. But I guess his wild hair and beard completely threw me off, but that's really neither here nor there. Because he's a great actor and he did a fantastic job as the lead here too. And he needed to, as the movie basically follows his character rather closely the entire time. So no real complaints about that, and no real complaints about the more technical aspects either. Now, this was clearly a fairly low budget movie, but I was actually shocked to find out just how low budget it was. It was apparently shot for a measly $32,000 with a post-production budget of a similar size. That is astronomically low for something that feels like a real professional film. I mean, Hollywood usually churns out films of this quality for a couple million. So, kudos to the filmmakers for making that budget work. But yeah, it's not exactly surprising to find out that this was an inexpensive movie, just based on the fact that it's a simple little story with often not many actors on screen, shot in a location that probably didn't require a lot of money to pull off. There are no big set pieces and no big name actors involved either, and that does drive down costs significantly. However, I really don't think anyone involved got paid much more beyond the union minimum scale here. But anyway, my point is, they did an outstanding job with the resources they had. And when it comes to the writing, it's sort of minimalist, but it works. The story itself definitely works, and I feel like a lot of the dialogue felt very natural too. And not gonna lie, there are some genuinely funny lines in there too. Oh, and I do need to mention the score as well, because it's a thing you will definitely notice. It's this weird percussive score that's either not there at all, or it's very much in your face and impossible to ignore. But it does a great job at creating a very unsettling and tense atmosphere. Now, with that being said, and I have mainly just given this praise, but I'm actually not sure what score to give it, because as much as I liked a lot of the individual aspects, for some reason I feel like I didn't actually like the movie as a whole quite that much. Which is interesting, and I'm not sure why, but I still very much liked it overall too. And just less than the individual pieces by themselves. So, I'm kind of thinking of giving this something like a high 6. Boop. And yeah, I think you should probably give it a look, especially if you like smaller indie movies. Or, you could just choose to skip it as well. After all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel, because that would be fantastic.